What's up, guys? Happy Thursday. Happy New Year. If you weren't on our Monday or Tuesday call or office hours, this week we're going to be in this meeting for the new people in the program that are here on time. This is all about scaling your book of business. We're always focused on growing our book of business or scaling the accounts that we already have inside of it. Uh, Now the big thing on this that we find, and this is what we found on in multiple audits, working with multiple companies, doesn't matter how big, seven-figure roofing companies up to nine-figure roofing companies. Getting new clients is it's great. We have to put a lot of focus there. We obviously focus on it a lot when it comes to growing your book of business. But when we talk about the five different ways to drive revenue growth within any service division, we're focused on growing your book of business, scaling your book of business, and we're also focused on post-job proposals, on-site upsells, maximizing the size of the proposals that we're giving our clients. Those are the five areas or the five service revenue drivers that we focus on in these programs. And getting new clients is the hardest one. So as we're looking at our goals, our ability to go get new clients it's important, but it is inherently the most difficult of the five ways to drive revenue for your service division. And the one that's easier is actually scaling the existing clients that you already have. You're going to get a lot more traction scaling the existing clients that you have in your book of business than you will if you're only focused on going out there and constantly trying to grow your book and getting brand new accounts. So that's what this series is all about. Again, welcome to the new people. For those of you that have been in here, we repeat this content on the scale side every 4 months. So we basically do three sections over the course of an entire year. But I'm going to encourage you guys. I think the vast majority of people are flawed when they engage in training. Most people consume the content and move on. And there's just no way that that is actually going to help you at the level that it's supposed to. It's the same way in sports. If I just installed an offense, practiced it for a couple of months, and then just moved on and did whatever I was doing before, it's not going to work, guys. The players in athletics that are actually in the systems that they run the longest are actually the ones that are the best that we've ever watched. Right? Michael Jordan was in the triangle offense for almost his entire career. As soon as Red joined, um, uh, uh, the or Tech, sorry, um, Tom Brady, same thing, right? They ran the same offense, him and Belichick together for years. When you look at the people that reach the highest rungs, it's because they're running the same system for a long period of time, and their ability to understand how to run that system improves month over month, quarter over quarter, year over year. So this is not just consume it once and move on. We've been doing this for so long, and the content's at where it's at today because Chad and I are constantly always trying to learn. And the great thing about sales is your ability to actually improve and invest in your improvement is going to directly impact the amount of money that you make, which is directly going to impact your life. Okay. But too often we see some of the fewest learners in a company are on the sales team. We got learners in other departments. For some reason on the sales team, we just want to go do. We want to be in action. And I get that and I love that. But we've got to slow down to learn. Okay. There's a very popular saying, you got to slow down to speed up. That's absolutely what this is about. So let's go ahead and get our deck up here as we're waiting for Chad to join us. But as people continue to cycle in here, welcome. This is Scale. And Scale is within the Grow versus Scale IP that we teach. You're either growing your book of business or you're scaling your book of business at any given moment within the sales game. And it is easier to increase the amount of revenue that you're getting from clients than it is to go out and generate a new client. All right, we'll give Chad a couple more minutes. The other thing I will say, guys, is that part of the scale game gets impacted obviously by grow. If you're going out there and you're prospecting these, mom and pop buildings, these mom and pop businesses, 15, 20,000 square feet of roof, one location, you can get them as a new client, but how much work are they going to give you over the course of that year? And it's not that we have to neglect those people, but is that where we're spending the bulk of our time? Is that what are those the doors that we're trying to get into? Are those the doors that we're trying to open? And are those really the clients that we're trying to add to our book of business? We have something called the primary account requirement that we're going to go through with you guys in all of this, but ultimately, how you choose to grow your book of business is also going to determine your ability to scale it as well. Now, additionally, if you're trying to grow your book of business with big old national accounts because you think you're going to scale the hell out of them, that's great. But know that those national accounts are going to take a long time to get into, most likely. And that's going to be a long play. Okay, so you got to play the short, medium, and long game. Those are the three things that we're doing at any given point. All right, let me get myself set up here, get the chat up. Now, again, guys, we have all of this content in our learning platform. Okay, you have access to all of this training. You can watch these videos anytime you want to and get all of the same exact content here. When we're showing up here to give you guys direct access to Chad and I. We don't just want the learning platform. Reason why is because we've done that before. We created videos, we had them up, and then what we were hearing from our salespeople is, "Hey, it'd be great if we had access to you and Chad to ask deeper questions. Hey, it'd be great if we had access to you and Chad so that we could not only ask you specific questions about the content, but we could ask you situational questions that we're in right now." Right. So that's the real purpose to these meetings. And just to level set for 2025 for everybody that's been in the program and to set the right expectation for everybody that's new, the learning part of this, guys, you can do anytime through the videos that we have in our learning portal. Okay. You can do it absolutely anytime you want. Chad and I spend our time every single week here with you guys for the direct engagement, for the direct questions that we're getting from you guys. So we're going to encourage you guys to do that. Get in here, ask questions, get specific about the accounts that you're dealing with today, about how we can, what you guys need, what questions, what strategies you have, what strategies you have, need to be able to penetrate those accounts further. And we're going to be here for you every single week to help you do that. All right, got a couple more people. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and dive in here, guys. The whole point of everything that we're doing here on the scale side is specifically around the 8-figure service division. And the reason why we show you guys this image is because it really doesn't matter what size of company you're with. And I know that, so part of this thing is about making sure that we're clearing out some of the head trash that's going on in our own minds, right? We've got to make sure that anything that's causing us to, well, is that really going to work? That's not really for my world. What we want to assure you guys is we've got clients in these programs that are anywhere from doing under $500,000 a year in service to companies that are doing in excess of $10 million a year in service. Okay. We've got companies all through the spectrum. And the problems that we find in terms of execution that are keeping their salespeople from maximizing their performance and ultimately their commission dollars, they're the same stuff. Okay. Maybe at the detailed level, it might get different, but within the content that we're giving you guys here, it's definitely all the same. Okay. Yeah, I'll get to that. I'll get to that question here in a little bit. that'll actually be something that we're going to cover. So as we're looking at the size of your business, as we're looking at the unique challenges that you guys have, the content here is designed to ensure that it's specific enough to help every single one of you guys. Your questions can get deeper and we will answer those, but do know that these concepts are filling the holes that every single company across the life cycle have. Okay. At the sales rep level, we get very, very specific with it. Okay. And we call it the 7-figure sales rep roadmap, because the goal for every single company that we've talked to and the goal for every sales rep that we have is minimum, they want to be doing $1 million in service sales a year. I'm not talking about capital projects, get that off of one close. This is off of actual service. Okay. 7-figure sales rep with actual service. What we see that there should be roughly a 3x rule. For every dollar you're able to generate in service, it should be able to generate an additional $3 in capital projects. So if you're doing $1 million in service, that should give you that should give you access to roughly an additional $3 million in re-roof projects or other large projects. That's a big deal. Okay, and we've got the whole formula for you guys on how all that stuff works. It's either all in the workbook or in our ebooks that we give you guys access to. But that's a big deal. If you guys want to be doing $4, $5, $6 million in sales every single year, so you can earn that type of commission, it all starts with being a seven-figure service sales rep. Now, the key to doing that, as you can see here, is we have to be able to set meetings. Step one. Okay, we got to be able to figure that out. We call that the storm chaser. But from there, just because we're setting meetings, right? We're talking to a sales rep. This was actually a sales leader at one point. And in that conversation, that person said, "Hey, man, just 90% of the game is getting on the roof, right? As soon as we're on the roof, we're good." No. Unfortunately, that sales leader didn't work out because that was their mentality. Just because you can set meetings doesn't mean that the sales are going to come. So we have to get good at setting meetings. We have to be able to get good at closing down new clients. But you can see as we get up the rung here, look at how much of that revenue for the Roofing Rainmaker is really going to start to come from repeat sales. It's a big deal, guys. The majority of your revenue, if you're going to become a 7-figure sales rep, you're going to be looking at probably 60-40, 70-30, 60 to 70% of your revenue or sales coming from existing clients. Okay. When you're doing $2 million plus, it's probably going to be more like 80. Okay. It should never get down. It should never go up as high as 90 or 100, because you should have new bandwidth to go get new big accounts, right? You always got to keep refilling the well. You never know when you might lose somebody. But if you lose a big client, you want to make sure you've got more coming up through the pipeline. But this is the way the game goes. So to become that 7-figure sales rep, we have got to get really, really good at not just getting new clients, but actually scaling those clients and getting those repeat sales. And it is not about the service team, guys. Okay. Yes, part of it is, but you are not beholden to them. There's plenty that you can do to ensure that you are in a position to be able to continue to scale that account as long as you're bringing in the right accounts into your book. Now, again, guys, the key on this is that 7-figure sales. Again, 1 million in service should turn into an additional 3 in capital, re-roof opportunities, etc. This is when we're talking about 2 to 3% commission, whatever the rate is. Talking about a really good annual earnings amount now. Okay, this is where things get really, really fun, and that's what we want for all of you guys. So, as I said before, every single month, what is your growth strategy? Tuesday. Okay. Again, all the content that we have on Kajabi, first and foremost. This content is not just here on webinar style. This is just, again, to give you guys access to us for very specific questions. Okay. It's all on there. You guys can look at this over the weekend. You guys can do this stuff at night. What is your growth strategy? And then every single month, what is your scale strategy? there was a time in sales early on in my career where I was out there just doing stuff, man. I was just doing it. Like, yeah, whatever. We're going to see. We're just going to talk to people. Know, like, and trust, baby. As long as they know, like, and trust me, we're going to be good. I'm going to kill this thing. They want to get a beer with me. They're going to buy my stuff. Unfortunately, I figured out that that's not really the way it works. Right. And at that time, I had gotten out of my ramp. I was hitting my quota, but I wasn't doing, it was up and down. Sucked. Until I really started to say, you know what, I'm going to become a sales professional and I'm going to figure out what my strategies are. I'm going to commit myself to this game. I've talked to you guys about this stuff before. This stuff means a lot to me. I know the names on here, you guys, I've talked to some of you guys about my personal story, but this stuff means a freaking lot to me because I grew up poor as hell down in El Paso, Texas. Father was in the military, couldn't keep a job afterwards. Mom was the only one working. He was kind of up and down, had some mental health issues, right? Grew up poor as hell. I went to school. I played basketball. I played D1 college basketball as well. I was successful throughout my life. And when I got out of college, it was like, bam, what are you going to do? Moved out to Phoenix, Arizona. Nobody cared about me, right? Well, the reason why that matters is because I was like, oh my God, I'm falling back into this pattern. Like, dude, I can't do this. I'm not going to have my family go through that, right? The things that me and my brother went through when we didn't have the things that we needed. When you're eating the same meal over and over again because your parents can't afford to go out to eat or to do whatever. Well, I got into sales, and little did I know sales was going to provide me the opportunity to create my life. And the opportunity to create my life was everything. It was absolutely everything. Because now I could put forth the effort, I could put forth the time and energy to dictate what my future was going to be and how I was going to be able to provide for the family that I had and the people that I loved the most. And I'm not going to go into all the things that I have now and my family has and all the things that we do. It's not about that, guys, but I can promise you sales has delivered a life for my daughters and my wife that one, I could never even sniff as a kid, and a life that I didn't even really understand was possible at this point. But it's all because of this world. Creating our lives is the most important thing to me. Our ability to do that instead of dealing with the deck of cards that you were dealt or the hand that you were dealt. And this game gives us the opportunity to do that. And you wonder why Chad and I are so freaking maniacal and why we break this stuff down at such a detailed level. Because the more we can break this down and the better we can get at this game, the more everybody that we love is going to be able to do in their life. The more experiences we're going to be able to share, the more opportunities we're going to be able to give them, all of that stuff. This is not just something to be glazed over at a high level. We've got to know what our strategy is, guys. And I dare you guys to become a freaking geek. Be a sales geek. Be a freaking sales nerd. Be the best and smartest person when it comes to the subject of sales of anybody that you know. And come back to me in 2 years and tell me if that negatively impacted your life. It won't. It's not going to impact your life negatively at all. The only thing that it's going to do is create opportunities. So when we talk about what is your growth strategy, what is your scale strategy, this is not stuff that, more stuff that I have to do. This is stuff we want to give you because, yeah, you get to do this now. Because the vast majority of people, companies and salespeople are not operating with a strategy on either one of these things. They're just really going out there and doing stuff and seeing what sticks. And it's not a way to create our lives. What's up, Chadwick? You got me on the pulpit today.
I do. I mean, we're just gonna let you roll, right? You're good. You're doing awesome.
All right.
Get it.
So guys, on the growth side, how do we define both of these? Again, for the new people, just Grow is consistently finding new customers, targeting the right prospects. Who do you want to add to your book of business? What is a client that you actually want that you're going to be able to scale? How do you actually run effective meetings that positions you as a trusted advisor and not a commodity sales rep? How do you separate your solution from the rest so that you're not one and done when it comes to your ability to work with them and they don't think that, oh, they repaired that leak, I can go back to my other vendors? And then how do we drive the process to a decision to close that window and don't allow money loves speed and time kills all deals, guys. That is what Grow is all about. You shorten the sales cycle, you're going to get a lot more people to make that decision to join you. And when you do that, you're going to have a lot more people joining your book of business. And as you have a lot more companies joining your book of business, you're going to have the opportunity to serve them. The roof is going to cost them either way. It's either going to cost them in the disruptions and negative disruptions and impact that it has on their business. It's going to cost them on the productivity side, maybe the product side, slip fall hazard side, where we have all that stuff in your sheets. It's going to cost them either way. Your ability to effectively scale a client gives you the opportunity to be able to manage that client where you reduce the overall load. You reduce the overall level of frustration. You reduce the amount of energy that they're spending messing with this asset that to them, they don't care about. They want to run their freaking business. We get that opportunity. And that's by getting that opportunity, what we're doing is we're saying you're going to spend this money either way. They're going to spend these resources, their time and energy, frustration either way. How can I help them spend less, but have them direct more of that to me? Because we all do it, right? Any of you Apple people out there, I got Apple stuff all over the place. Apple, I spend premium amounts of money because I have less time and energy that I have to spend figuring out how to get these dang things to work. Now, Siri's another story. Siri sucks. This iPhone 16 actually sucks pretty bad too, and I'm not really happy with iOS 18. So this seems to be a really strong talking point. They're not doing too good this over the last 6 months or so. But the point is, when we show up and we scale our accounts and we're trying to get more from the customers that we have, we're doing that in service to them. And we're going to talk to you guys a lot about this. It's the act as if mindset. Act as if it is your freaking roof. With all of the knowledge that you have, you would handle your freaking roof like a pro. And if you don't help them do it the same freaking way, what are we doing? Okay. We're going to ID if they're spending money with other roofers that aren't providing that type of service. Most people, because the bar is so low in commercial roofing, think that they just have to deal with the level of service that they're getting in commercial roofing. I disagree. You guys know that clip, that little kid, he goes, a bull crap. He says the actual word, I'm not going to say it here, but it's that. They don't have to deal with that. They think they do because they've dealt with enough commercial roofing companies to not think any better. Let me edit that. They've dealt with enough account managers, enough salespeople that are just trying to hit their commission dollars and not actually be a trusted advisor. So when they actually receive service, the service level that they deserve, now that gives us the opportunity to be able to identify other buildings, other regions, other parts of the roof, if it's a massive location, that they could actually start leveraging you instead of the frustration that they're getting with their other roofing options. Okay, because all this comes down to delivering white glove service in hopes that we are going to amaze them. Shock and awe is what they should feel. Dang, that was great. Woo! I didn't have to worry about any of this crap. They told me when they were going to be here. They checked on me, or they checked to see if they actually showed up or not, because if they didn't, they were going to take care of it instead of me having to stop what I'm doing to go call them to say, hey, where are you guys at? Right? When you can amaze them, that's going to be the key to you getting other opportunities, an additional share of the spend that they already have to, that they're already spending on an annual basis. And lastly, guys, informing clients of all the services your company provides is a big part of scale. God dang, I'm happy as heck with them, but I didn't know that they'll replace the stained ceiling tiles that I have inside. I'm overspending and I'm creating more work for myself by using another option to get those things done. Dad and I tell a story all the time about a client actually had to ask. This was early on. This was years ago. A client actually had to ask, say, do you guys do this? Like, man, guys, if our clients have to ask us if we do it, we failed. Because for every client that actually did ask, you guys have 5 other clients that never did ask and didn't know.
Well, they just buy it from somebody else, right? They don't know you do it. They don't think you do it. So they just buy it from somewhere else. And they think that you're just the roofing contractor and you do anything that has to do with the roof. And if they need a new gutter or downspout because it got hit by a car that or a U-Haul that backed into it, well, they're going to call a gutter company, right? Or whatever it is to be able to get there, a sheet metal company, and they're going to, this stuff happens all the time. All the time.
Yeah.
So I do want to make sure you want to go through here, but I want to give a couple examples on Grover scale on like how you guys and one, if you've been a part of this, right, and kind of went through this once, there's a massive, massive value for you guys being in this again. So David, I'll let you finish out this side, but I do want to talk about that before we jump off the sheet.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah. So the last thing to say on that, guys, is it's what I call multi-vendor madness. Guys, stop allowing your clients to fall into multi-vendor madness. It is exhausting having to deal with 4 or 5 different companies just to manage all of the services that your company can probably provide. It is madness. It is more energy. It's more confusion. It's more organization. It's more everything. Rather than them knowing that they have a one-stop shop. God, you guys could do all of that. And not only is it easier, it's cheaper, guys, because everybody's got a trip fee, right? Everybody's rolling that into their cost. If you guys can go out there and handle all that stuff, it's inherently going to be cheaper than them having to deal with every single individual vendor to get this stuff done. But again, most of the time, it's because they don't know. It's because we have not told them. We haven't allowed them to see that we also offer these items as well. If you guys ever run into an issue like that. But again, the key way, you don't offer up services to somebody that's not impressed with what you do. White glove service is so important because when they're amazed about what you do, that opens the door. I'm glad this was so much better than the experiences that you've had before, Chad. Hey, and also do know there's additional services that we do offer. So you're not having to go track down other vendors or, just deal with a bunch of different companies. We also offer X, Y, Z, A, B, C, if those are additional things that you ever find yourself needing. We'd be happy to help. And we provide the same level of service with those as well. Boom. You're already on their mind, right? Just like Apple. iPhone was the first thing that they got from me. iPad, Apple Watch, Mac. I mean, there's so many freaking apples around here. You think there's an orchard in my office. All right, go ahead, Chadwick.
I like your jokes. Good. So I wanna a couple different things. Always inside this slide, especially when we kick it off like this, is I'm gonna ask you guys the question, and we're gonna ponder on it for a sec. If your client left you, would they feel any pain? Okay, if your client left you, so whoever you're working with right now, your best client, think about it, the best client that you guys have, you do the most revenue with them, they pay you the quickest, they give you the most amount of work orders, whatever it is. If they went to a different contractor tomorrow because they got a better product, they got it faster, or they got it cheaper, okay, better, faster, cheaper, would they feel any pain? What would that be like? So if your client left you, so let's just say all 3, he got 3 bids, all that kind of different stuff, and he goes, "Yep, I'm not going to go with da 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 da. We're going to try this different route." What pain would they have? That question to me has always hit me hard because there's so many times where it's like, well, he got the same scope of work cheaper, right? He got the resolution to his leak done faster, right? He got a 60 mil 20-year warranty for the cost of a 60 mil 15 warranty. Like, what pain does your customer have going somewhere else? So I asked that question. I sit here for a couple seconds because it's a really, really, really hard question to ask. And there are some answers to it. And I don't know if there's ever a right answer because I think it's different every single client that you have. But that's really what we're trying to get to, is that when you talk about like a trusted advisor, we're going to help you make decisions. We're going to treat it as if, right? Act as if we're going to treat it as if it's our own. We're going to help them understand good versus bad investment. We're going to help them budget for capital years. Those are all things that add in, but I can't answer the question if your customer truly cares about any of that, because they might be able to get it from somebody else, right? So that's always good for, in my head, what I'm dealing with. If my customer was to leave me, would they feel any pain? If they were to choose a different contract or go somewhere else, would they feel any pain? So I'm going to leave that with you guys to think about that, because that's always a really, really hard thing that I always think about, right? It's like, no, they like me. I don't care what it is. If they left you, if they did, hypothetically, what pain would they have? What would they lose other than a contractor that comes out, does the repairs, invoices them, and moves on to the next lead call? Only you guys can answer that, but that's a huge, huge part. Now, the second part that I wanted to talk to you guys about is that if you have already worked with us for a duration of time and you have your grow and scale goals set, okay? So we're in 2025. We've already worked with a handful of customers to figure out, okay, what's the grow? What's the scale? What do we need to do? That's beautiful, except I'm going to destroy one thing for you. Every time that you grow your business, you bring a new customer in, they could, in a perfect world, instantly be added to your scale goal. Because if I go out there today and I go to a Discount Tire and I get work at my first Discount Tire, beautiful, that's growing a new customer, that's a new sale that's coming in here. But then I learned that Discount Tire has 70 stores within my metro. Now I got a scale opportunity. Now I got 69 other stores that I can go and get. So there needs to be a refresh. There has to be a refresh, because going and getting new customers, going and growing new customers, hey, that's great. You're awesome at hunting. You're awesome at adding value. You're awesome at overcoming whatever gaps they have with their current contractor. That's beautiful. But part of being back in here, even if you have that grow goal or that scale goal set, is understanding, right? Okay, we're going to take this new customer, the last, let's just say 3 months, we've got these new customers. Which ones of these are scalable, and should they fit into my scalable model to, again, help me kill that goal? Because your goal right now should be set upon the accounts that you have that scale or are scalable. So this is where we talk about like killing goals. Goals are set based upon historic measurables and then actions that need to be done. Who you cultivate today, the jobs that you sell today, can very easily be added in, not just to add to your scale, but to be able to kill your goals, right? To be able to just supersede where they are. There's a lot of cool stuff that we can do with this. So if you guys have been through some of the scale stuff, I'm going to tell you, stay here, because this same thing, I'm not going to tell you it should happen every day, but there needs to be a duration, right? If we're looking at it once a quarter, to be able to say, well, you know what, we're going to pull all the new leads that we've got over the last 3 months, all the new customers that came in, and we're going to do this again, and we're going to add this to our scale goal so we have our attention in the right spot. Huge, huge part of this, guys. All right, I'll shut up now, David.
Oh, you're good. The pain side, guys, please remember, people are coming after your clients, whether you like it or not. They are. We're training you guys how to go after other people's clients. I can guarantee you other companies are coming after your clients. And when we do book of business audits, guys, I mean, you guys would be shocked about if we get a 3 or 4 year run rate on every single client, you'd be shocked at the number of clients that we just see that are just going down. Why? Because there's no pain. There's no pain because you guys aren't doing anything that's different. And that's a big part of it. Okay. Now, the great thing about scale, guys, is it's just a little bit of really focused and strategic effort that actually pays a huge price, or creates a huge outcome for you. You better not be calling your client every day. You're going to piss them off. You're going to annoy the hell out of them. You don't need to be reaching out to them all the time. You need a few strategic points of outreach. And that's what we're going to go through the entire scale side on this side over the next 4 months. We're going to break that entire game plan down for you. Okay. So Thursdays is for scaling your book of business. Now, the big thing that we've been focusing on and setting goals this year, guys, is remember your new client target, right? So I'm just going to go for, I'll take one of our 7-figure sales reps, one of our top reps. One of our top reps is going to do, whatever, 2.2 million with his existing book of business, but his grow goal is 2 clients a month, every month for an average amount of $5,000 per first sale. Okay, so $10,000 in new client sales. Obviously, that stacks up. Okay, that 10,000 doesn't. Let's just say, right? It's only $120,000, but it stacks up if we can take the new client that we get and we can establish it. Okay, and that's part of the white glove service and everything else that we're going to be taking you guys through, because you have your scale goal with your existing book of business that you already have in place. You've got to take your new clients and establish them. You can't just go in. Yeah, oh, we got that lead call. We got it. We'll wait for them to call back. No, that's not the way this thing works. Hope is not a strategy. Okay, so that's a big part of it. We got to get new clients and then establish them, which is part of scale, so that they actually become cemented into our existing book of business. And we're not just getting one-off sales that never come back to us. We see that a lot too. We'll go get a 12-month run rate, Chad. How often do we see that? We'll go through and get for a company, right? We get 12 months worth of service sales, 650, 1,500. They were one and done, right? And that's very normal, guys. So we're not throwing shade, but what we are saying is that it doesn't have to be that way. The amount of opportunity that was in every single one of those clients and not just getting that one-off invoice was huge for that 12-month period.
So that's a massive point, right? So when we look at a book of business, right, and this is just a high level for me, and I'm going to encourage you guys, go into whatever system you have and do this. Pull sales by client, and then don't look at the dollar amount. The dollar amount, that's an average, but look at the quantity, right? How many opportunities did you have with them? Because if they give you 12 work orders, you can bet that they're going to give you 1 work order a month on average, right? But like David said, most of the opportunities that we see are ones and twos, right? So that means it's a one-hit wonder. Once a year, they're going to give us a work order. They're, 2, that's once every 6 months, they're going to give us a work order. And some of that might be true, right? They might just be one building, one location. They had one issue. Like, I'm okay with that. That's real. And we want that work, right? Because we get 100% of that spend. It's just not enough to be able to become a primary account. But what happens most of the time is that we're so focused on, like, I don't have anything that's selling this week, I need to go find a new opportunity, that we go try to grow our business when we don't need to grow our business. We actually need to scale our business, because the existing customer base that we have, they give more than 1 work order a year, right? That's the question. You got 1 work order. Did they give more than 1 work order? And if they did, that means they're giving work to somebody else. So I challenge you guys, go into sales by client, look at where it was for 2024. And I don't care if you do this in your accounting system, you do it through your CRM, wherever it is, makes no difference. But notice all of those low numbers, right? Primary account is giving us at least 1 work order a month. So if they're under that, that means they're not a primary account, which means we should be looking at those to be able to see, okay, is this really just a small one-off account that just has 1 job, or is there more?
Yep. All right. And you can still see my screen, right, Chad?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So, breaking false beliefs, guys. That's what this thing is all about. Okay. When we look at the scale side, with all the salespeople that we've worked with, we hear some very common things that get in the way. And I'm a big believer that 80% of the sales game happens right here, right in between your ears, guys. Whatever they say, the 6 inches or whatever. For me, it's like 8 inches. Guy got a huge head. Like, my wife makes fun of me often. but I'm 6'6", so it's proportionate to the size of my body, guys. But it's a head game. It is a freaking head game. And when we have head trash going around, we can't actually hit our potential. Okay. So we have to understand what are some of those false beliefs that we have. We're going to take you through three of the most common ones that we work through. But as you guys identify some of the potential false beliefs, bring those to the surface. Talk to us about them. Put them in the chat while we're going through this stuff. The biggest thing that will get into our way as salespeople is ourselves. And I don't care what level you're at. Chad and I were just having a conversation yesterday in our meeting. And he was going through and checking me on something that I was doing that was getting in the way of something that I needed to be doing because of the belief that I had. Like we always, guys, the things that we do always make sense to us, but they're not the things that always make sense to the greater good and the highest possible outcomes that we can get. So check yourself. Check the thoughts that you have going through your head and make sure that you're not being your own worst enemy when it comes to your ability to perform and hit the highest rungs of talent or the highest rungs of performance and reach the ultimate level of talent that you should be able to get to. Because ultimately, guys, the highest level of talent that you should be able to reach is going to be predicated upon your belief that you can control your outcomes. If you feel like you're a victim of circumstance, you are not going to be able to hit the highest levels. And that's one of the reasons why false beliefs are so cancerous to us, because they put us in a prism or a prison where we feel like we can't actually get outside of it. We are now under somebody else's control and we are only good as these variables. And it is a bunch of freaking bullcrap.
So David, I'll take this one.
Yep.
So they spend all their money with me. I hear this a lot. And the first thing that I think of is number one, you think they spend all their money with you because there's a lot of different places where roofing, sheet metal, waterproofing, whatever it is that you guys are capable of doing. There's a lot of places that money can be spent. That doesn't mean he's buying roofing today, but it could include roofing. So the first place I'll go to is different trades, right? It has HVAC work going on, something like that, going up on the roof, plumbing, mechanical, whatever it might be, right? There's times where they have their own contractor. It's a turnkey thing. We'll take it, we'll flash it back in, all those kind of variables. And again, if you're telling me, no, that doesn't happen, they call me every single time, I'm going to challenge you on that. If you really have a relationship that's truly that deep. Now, the second part of this is they spend all their money with me. Let me explain a business prospecting sales tactic that I had within multiple SDR divisions. So SDR, sales development reps, telemarketing. When we had a customer that we wanted to work with, and whether it was a one-off building that we just wanted to work with, or it was a larger company that we wanted to work with, we would set follow-ups for Saturdays. Okay, and if you guys have heard me talk about Saturdays, not because we called on Saturday, it's because it was a high target customer, right? I don't say a dream client, but it was something we wanted to work with. So what would happen is we would add, as soon as we made a call on the SDR side, we're like, oh man, this building's kick ass. Like we want to be here. We would add that to Saturday. My SDRs would. So as soon as we got a rain event, as soon as something happened in that territory, it's like, dude, we got rain going through Atlanta tomorrow. We would call all of our Saturdays as soon as that rain went through, because it wasn't about if they knew you. It wasn't about if they had, if you're getting all of that work. It was about me getting there first. And you would be amazed at the number of conversations that we had to say, yeah, actually, we do have a leak. Yeah, I know you guys have been calling for a little bit. If you want to come out and take a look at it, I'd be happy to. And boom, it's done. I'm in there. Now, I might just be giving a proposal for it, right? I may have got an opportunity to, and again, if I upsell on site, all that stuff, beautiful. But I'll tell you on a prospecting side, guys, 80% of our new customers that we got locally was based upon that strategy. So don't ever assume that they're spending all the money with you just because they like you, just because you get all of the big projects, just because you get 70 work orders every single month or every single year. Don't assume that that's all that's going into it. We can have different trades. You can have one-offs that are coming in. You can have a waterproofing company that's coming in doing sealant on the sidewalk that says, hey, I noticed some control joints also need to be done. And boom, now they've upselled their way possibly into your world. So that's one of the biggest false beliefs. When I hear that, the only thing I think of is you're going to lose that customer. That's the only thing I think. And it might not be right. It might be cocky wherever it is, but I just know what I used to do. And as soon as someone says, nope, they give me all their work, it's like, all right, you'll lose it at some point. And not that you're going to lose the client. I'm not saying you're going to lose the client. But what I am going to say is that the amount of work that you're doing is going to go down over time. I promise you. Whether someone moves out, a new individual moves in and they bring their own contractor with them. I'm probably hitting pain points for some of you guys because that's how I grew as a business. They brought me in. My person got let go, or my person left here and all of a sudden shows up somewhere else and they say, man, I got a kick-ass contractor I'm going to bring to the table. Can we try them? And the owner says, yeah, yeah, let's try them out. Let's see how they do. And now all of a sudden, all of their money is not with you. So I say all of that because that's all real world stuff that I dealt with. HVAC contractor comes in, puts a couple holes inside the roof. Oh man, I screwed up. I'll get my roofer out here to fix it. Don't worry about it. Now you have another contractor making repairs. You have a new plumbing vent that's coming in. Again, go down that entire thing. Or maybe you're working on a building. You're not the installer of that roof, but you're working on a building. All of a sudden they have a roof leak. They call it to the manufacturer. The manufacturer now calls and sends it to the installing contractor that now comes out and does the repairs. I've had it happen, guys. Now all of a sudden, yeah, he might like me, but the manufacturer now called another contractor to be able to come out that's now certified or the original installer of that roof, which means you got somebody else in the mix. So I'm saying all of this, this is all real world. This is all stuff that I've dealt with that happens. Whether we want to admit it, whether we want to say, nah, that's not happening to me, that's cool. But I'm going to tell you from one side, it's not always the case. If you think they spend all their money with you, there is a gap within the understanding of what we're doing to grow businesses and maintain them as a trusted advisor.
And guys, I'll, like from a let's just call it a philosophical perspective, my opinion on this is my opinion, but I am a big believer that entitlement is like a plague. Anywhere where we think we are entitled to something, that thing is slowly in decay. And when we think we're entitled to our customers' work, we're in a bad position because we're not entitled to it. They deserve our continual attention. They deserve our energy. They deserve us waking up every day and every month wanting to make sure that we're fighting for their greatest good in their business. Don't feel entitled. If you feel entitlement creeping up in any area, check it because it's probably not good. All right, false belief number 2. They won't tell me what their annual budget is. Gosh. I mean, that's just it's such a real thing that you guys hear. But what we would urge you guys to understand is that if you actually just change your prism just a little bit on how you're looking at it, your entire relationship with your client will change. Chad and I see this over and over again. We hear it on call reviews. We see it when we're doing ride-alongs. For salespeople that treat their clients like ATM machines, essentially, when you're just when whether you intend to or not, guys, when it feels like you're just calling them because you're just trying to get the next invoice, because you're just trying to get the next contract signed, because you're just trying to get the next sale through, they're not going to trust that you are there for their greater good. They're going to see you as somebody that's trying to achieve your own greater good, and they're a means to that end. And that is a big difference between being a trusted advisor and a salesperson. That's the huge difference. It's small, but it is enormous. And when we look at when we're working with customers and they don't trust us enough to give us their budget, usually it's because of how we've been acting within the relationship or how we've been showing up in the relationship or the interest that we've taken in their goals or the opportunity presented to them that will help them actually hit their goals. And we positioned ourselves as a key strategic advisor that actually helps them achieve the end that they want to get to, instead of being the person that's just trying to get the next sale. Go ahead, Chad.
So here's where mindset really comes into it. So like change your prism, change your perspective a little bit, right? So it's the end of 2024. We're going into 2025. And I'm business planning just like my customers business planning. And at the end of the day, I want to ensure that my business is aligned to your business growth strategy to ensure that I can fulfill what you expect from me. As a roofing contractor, I'm going to assume that you would like me to respond to roof leaks. So if you guys are looking at doing some larger projects, that's awesome to know because now I can prepare myself for that. I can prepare my company for that. If you're looking at buying a different portfolio, if you're looking at building new locations, if I could be better and closer to what you guys are planning to do in 2025, right now, it will allow me to better position my business. And if you really love working with me as much as you say you do, right? Because they give you all their money, they love all that kind of different stuff. Well, let me prepare my business because the last thing I need is for you guys to be able to say, hey, I'd like to do preventative maintenance on my whole portfolio, and I don't have the people to do it. Now you are searching for somebody else, or now I am under delivering on maybe something that you need. So when you come into the situation as a trusted advisor, I don't care what your budget is, but I do want to prepare my company for the opportunities that you have upcoming, whether that be estimating, whether that be production, whether that be preventative maintenance. If you guys have anything planned, let's talk about that so I can make sure that I can deliver the best possible value to you guys. That's always been my talk track. What the budget is what the budget is, right? Now, if I can help you build that budget, great. I'm going to do that with real data, right? So now we can start talking about that. Then we can say, hey, do you know if any of those budgets were approved so I can make sure that my teams are available and I can make sure my teams are ready. Again, I'm working for you. I'm doing all of this for you because I want to be the best possible partner to you.
Those are the strategic questions, guys, and the approach that you can take that will allow them to see that you're there for them. And you'll be amazed. They're not going to keep stuff as close to the chest, guys. If they know they can share information with you, if they know that they can have conversations with you that are going to help, and you're that person that's going to help them to get to their desired outcome, they will be more forthcoming. All right, go ahead and take this one, Chad.
Oh, my main focus should be getting new clients. I had an opportunity to be able to meet with the customer contractor earlier this year, and they said that their goal is always to be able to find 40 new customers. That's what it is. As a new rep comes on board, we need 40 new clients, 40 new customers. So that's what they need to do. And that was the definition of success. And the crazy part to me is like this false belief that we're talking about is like, okay, I get 40 customers. Each one of those 40 customers give me one lead call that's worth, let's just say $1,000. I have $40,000 in sales. Am I successful? Did I hit the goals that I want? Right. So like going and getting new customers is the biggest use of time that you will invest. So we talk about prospecting, right? Making the phone call, getting the conversation with them, having a meeting with them, not to mention like building that social proof, building the trust, making sure that your solution is aligned to their problem or goal. Like all of that stuff funnels in. And that is the most and hardest work that you guys will ever do. Now, I'll tell you, you have to do it, right? Growing your business, adding new blood, all that stuff is a part of it. But smart sales is not about getting new customers. Smart sales is about understanding when you need to grow and when you need to scale. Right? Which really brings us back to like this whole presentation and like what we're doing is that if you're focused on getting new customers, that means that your book of business has a net worth of near zero or a growth of near zero, and you are managing every client, hoping to do the exact same with them. Your growth goal should be dependent on the total value of the book of business that you currently have. And when I say book of business, I mean client. Every client you have, what's their net worth or how much do they spend? And we'll get deeper into this based upon what is a logical share of wallet, right? So like going to work with CBRE, 100% share of wallet. It's not logical and it will never be that. So what is that logical side and how do we create plans around that? Anything you want to add to that, David?
No, the only thing that was going through my mind was um the knowledge that we have about our clients, and we're going to get into it in scale, but the knowledge that we have about our existing clients and understanding their world and what's important to them and what they're trying to prioritize your ability to spend some time, whether it be using ChatGPT, AI, whatever it is, to really understand the segments and verticals or sectors that you're focused on, is going to give you a really good opportunity to be able to make uh, uh, phone calls or stop by and have a quick touch base with your existing clients way more valuable to them because you'll have questions to ask them. And the reason why I'm saying that here is because all of our time just doesn't need to be on new clients. Like, are you guys spending enough time taking a step back and understanding your existing clients and allocating enough of your time to going in there and almost prospecting them, right? Going in there and creating proactive outreach to them that's valuable to them instead of just always being reactive. That was the only thing that came to my mind. But I mean, it's so true, guys, and that's why we created the seven figure service sales rep graphic the way that we did. Because if you're just chasing after new clients, guys, you are running in stand. Your life is going to be so freaking hard. The easiest way to go through and build a book of business that's generating $1 million or $2 million. And remember the 3X rule that I started all of this off with. The easiest way to do that is by getting new clients, establishing them, and then scaling them. So two of the three things that we need to be focused on is on this side. You can't just go out and be churning and burning. It's going to be the hardest way to do it, guys. And we don't want that for you. All right, guys, that's all we got. Any questions that came through in the chat, I've already answered them. If you guys have additional questions, remember we always have office hours on Thursdays. You can hit us up then, Thursday mornings, and be on the lookout for our new client hub that we've created. We're going to be working with your leaders though, and understanding what all that looks like and what the rollout process is. But either way, you guys are going to have everything that you need for this year to really make sure that your development is at the level that it needs to be to match the level of results that you actually want. Don't want it to be easier, want to be better. All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the playoffs and stay warm out there if you guys are in this iceberg area.